medical reimbursement options. Let's take a quick look at the different reimbursement options, the different types of insurance policies that are available for patients, subscribers to purchase. The commercial plans that are available include HMO, PPO, and point of service plans. The government programs available are Medicare, TRICARE, CHAMP VA, and the Affordable Care Act. First, know that you do not have to be a participating provider to bill medical plans. Payment from the insurers will be sent to you directly in most cases, or direct deposited if that's what you request. However, know that some plans will send payment to the office only if you are a participating provider. Otherwise, the check will go to the patient. This is very rare and is not a good enough reason to become a PAR provider. First, let's talk about the commercial programs, the capitated plans. Capitated plans are the HMOs. They're popular because they're cheap. They're very low-cost plans. However, you get what you pay for. If you select an HMO plan, you also have to select a primary care provider, a PCP. What that PCP does is he or she is the gatekeeper of all of your medical treatment. In other words, if you have a problem, let's say you're having heart palpitations and you know you have to go see a cardiologist. If you have an HMO, you cannot go directly to the cardiologist. You first have to go to the primary care provider, and the PCP will then give you a referral to the specialist. If you go directly to the specialist, treatment is not going to be covered under the HMO plan. Similarly, if you as a dentist get a patient with an HMO policy, know that first of all, on the front of the card, it will always, somewhere on that card, say PCP and have the name of either an individual provider or a group. That identifies the policy as an HMO policy. HMOs are of two types: in-network benefits only, out-of-network benefits as well. The patient that has out-of-network benefits can go to any provider, but still must always get a referral from their PCP. They cannot go directly to the provider. So let's say the patient comes to your office. They have an HMO. They have out-of-network benefits. They have this HMO POS plan, so HMO point of service plan, where they can go out of network. But they have not yet seen their primary care provider because they had no idea that their HMO may cover the procedures that are being done by you in your office. So the exam is not going to be covered. But any treatment that you provide, it's recommended that you give the patient the diagnoses, the procedures. The patient then takes it back to their PCP, who then provides the referral to you for services to be provided. In that case, they are billable and covered, in most cases, under the patient's HMO plan. No matter what type of an HMO the patient has, remember, the card will always state PCP on the front and the name of the medical group or individual provider that the subscriber has selected. The patient must get quote-unquote permission or a referral if they're going to a specialist, whether in or out of network. and all dentists are considered specialists as far as healthcare services are concerned. The second type of a commercial program is a PPO or preferred provider organization. Participating physicians in these types of plans provide care for a contracted fee. Typically, they agree to a reduced fee of anywhere from 50 to 70% of their usual and customary, or even less in some cases, and then they legally must write off the difference as per their provider contract. With a PPO type of a plan, the patient does not need a referral. Whether the patient has in-network benefits only or needs to go out of network if they have out-of-network benefits, they do not need a referral from any primary care physician. They go directly to the specialist that they feel they need to see, whether it's a cardiologist, dermatologist, ENT. They can go directly to that physician, dentist, etc. When we turn to government programs, the program that people are most aware of is Medicare. Medicare is a federal government program that covers those over the age of 65, the disabled, the mentally and physically handicapped. Unlike commercial plans, Medicare has limited benefits for oral services, and the reimbursement is lower than for commercial plans. The procedures that Medicare covers includes exams, but not consultations, covers specific screening and diagnostic radiographs, removal of pathology, biopsies, excisions, reconstruction procedures of severe atrophy or post-cancer treatment, including implants, bone grafts, connective tissue grafts when there is severe deterioration of the jawbone, or after cancer therapy. And then also Medicare covers sleep apnea appliances. With Medicare, dentists all had to declare their Medicare status by June 1st of last year. There are two important reasons why dentists need to understand the potential impact to dental patients and one's dental practice when they are deciding what status to declare themselves as. When we look at the different statuses, please know that all forms that are mentioned in this section to be completed depending on the status that you select for yourself, they are all found on the Z Group website, links under the Medicare tab. And the website is thezgroupllc.com. First of all, there are a lot of potential patients who may be impacted with the upcoming Medicare changes. Aging baby boomers, patients with mental or physical handicaps, who are all covered by Medicare. These are patients that you're currently seeing. Secondly, know that all dentists who prescribe Part D covered drugs must be enrolled in Medicare in order for those prescription medications be covered under Medicare Part D. What does that mean? It means that a prescription written by a dentist will be filled by the pharmacist, but the cost will not be covered by Medicare Part D if the dentist is not a Medicare provider. So if the dentist doesn't have a P10 number, that's a Medicare number, the patient will pay out of pocket for the antibiotic, the pain medication, the muscle relaxant, whatever it is you prescribe. If you're not a Medicare provider, even though the patient has Medicare Part D coverage. The prescription was written by a non-Medicare provider. Patient pays out of pocket for the medication. So what does this mean for dentists? If you treat Medicare eligible patients for whom you prescribe medication, perform procedures that are covered by Medicare, or if you refer the patient to a specialist that is participating in Medicare, you need to do one of the following immediately if you have not already done so. Option 1, enroll as a Medicare provider. You can do this either by completing and submitting CMS Form 855I by mail or submitting enrollment electronically through the PCOS system. Option 2, you can completely opt out of Medicare. Now, when you opt out of Medicare, you privately contract with Medicare eligible patients by utilizing a private contract. You see an example of this in the 2017 Z-Book, and there are 2 private contracts on the CD. When a dentist opts out of Medicare, the dentist cannot receive Medicare payments for a 2-year period, which means that nothing that you do can be billed to Medicare. Even if it's covered by Medicare, you can't bill it if you've opted out and have a private contract with your Medicare eligible patients. Option 3, enroll as a Medicare ordering and referring provider. Ordering and referring providers cannot send claims for their services to Medicare for reimbursement. Neither can the patient. Ordering and referring providers can only order prescriptions, write scripts, refer patients to Medicare enrolled providers and suppliers. The services that are then performed by these other providers will be covered by Medicare. So whether it's a pathologist, where you're going to get a path report, whether it's a pharmacy where the patient is getting a prescription filled, or whether it's to another Medicare provider, let's say an oral surgeon, to get teeth extracted, covered by Medicare. But if you're not an ordering and referring provider or a Medicare participating provider, even though the oral surgeon is participating, because you as the referring provider are not, then the patient will have to pay out of pocket. So ordering and referring providers can only write scripts to be filled and refer patients to Medicare enrolled providers and suppliers. They can perform any procedure on a Medicare patient, whether covered by Medicare or not, but they cannot bill Medicare for those services if they are ordering and referring providers. The complete application for this is the CMS 855O. The 4th option, enroll as a DME POS provider. If you're interested in billing Medicare for sleep apnea appliances only or in addition to other procedures, then you need to obtain a separate Medicare DME number. The complete application for that is CMS 855S. And again, all of these forms can be accessed through the Z Group website in the upper right corner, Medicare tab, and you simply click it on. It will take you to the application. Either way, if you've not yet declared your Medicare status and selected one or more of those 4 categories, the deadline has passed and you're now bound by Medicare rules and regulations, whether you like it or not. So it's important for you to fill out the application for the type of provider you wish to be. know that it takes a minimum of 3 months for your application to be processed by Medicare. The next type of government plan is TRICARE. TRICARE covers active duty military and their families. It requires pre-certification for all procedures, and this is very easy to do online. Reimbursement is much better than Medicare, as you saw from the EOBs that I showed, and also less limited. It's very easy to get pre-certification, very easy to find out how much you're going to get paid, because TRICARE will let you know that after the procedure is authorized, and it's easy to get paid. With TRICARE, know that you must be enrolled as a medical provider in order to pre-cert online and get online authorizations. Again, the response authorizations are granted within 24 to 72 hours. It's a very quick turnaround process. TRICARE is actually the only program that I could recommend that you participate in. It's also the only insurer that tells you on the authorization exactly how much you will be paid for a procedure. CHAMP VA is a program for retired military and their families. Same benefits as for active duty, the TRICARE program. So if you're enrolled as a TRICARE medical provider, you can automatically submit for CHAMP VA medical reimbursements also and find out the pre-certifications, how much you're going to get paid, all of those things, just like with TRICARE. The last type of government program is the Affordable Care Act, about which there's been a lot of controversy. The first thing that you should know is that insurance must be purchased through either healthcare.gov or individual state insurance exchanges in order for the enrollee to qualify for taxpayer-funded subsidies if they can't afford the full premium. If the insurance is purchased directly through an individual insurer, such as Blue Cross Blue Shield, the patient is not eligible for a subsidy. Of those that are currently enrolled in Affordable Care Act plans, 80% now receive taxpayer-funded subsidies, which means you and I are paying for the people who cannot afford to pay the full premium. The cost to participate or to purchase these plans varies from state to state. Depending on the state, a typical 27-year-old male will pay anywhere from $250 and up for the cheapest policy. Now, for the average 20-something male, that's a car payment. So, knowing that you cannot be denied insurance under the Affordable Care Act if you have a pre-existing condition, the 20-somethings, 30-somethings are typically saying, why should I buy insurance? I'm healthy. I've never gone to the doctor, and if I have a problem, I just go to Walgreens, CVS, buy myself some Dayquil, NyQuil, Advil, and I'm good to go. So why should I pay $250 a month and more or more for a policy when I'd rather have a car? With the Affordable Care Act plans also, know that patients must pay the full deductible up front before their benefits kick in. So unlike traditional commercial plans, where the deductible is taken out of each claim that is submitted, with the Affordable Care Act, the full deductible has to be paid up front. Well, when you have a deductible that is as high as the Affordable Care Act plan deductibles are, it's going to be a problem. Doctors are having problems collecting the money from patients up front collecting these deductibles. If you can barely afford the policy, how can you afford the deductible? Keep in mind that deductibles, unlike the premiums, are not taxpayer subsidized. So the policy holder has to come up with a deductible up front before any benefits kick in. Knowing this, hospitals are also saying, hey, if you're an Affordable Care Act patient, you need to pay that deductible up front, because we know we're not going to get paid anything until you pay that deductible. So they're asking for payment up front. The Affordable Care Act has several plans available. They are called the metallic plans, obviously, platinum, gold, silver, bronze, and then the catastrophic plan, which only covers catastrophic situations. The latest information that we have regarding the Affordable Care Act, first of all, any new information regarding insurance, regarding medical coding and billing, as it happens, is posted as a tip on the Z Group website every month. The tip of the month, upper right hand corner on the Z Group website, thezgroupllc.com. Make sure you check it for the latest information. As far as the Affordable Care Act, what's the current status? Because so many patients with pre-existing conditions signed up for medical benefits, insurance companies are now losing money. Keep in mind, as you know, insurance companies rely on a majority of healthy individuals paying premiums who don't use the benefits, and that's how they make their money. However, the reality is that the vast majority of subscribers that purchased the Affordable Care Act plans have so many major health issues that they're overtaxing the system. So what's happened? Insurance companies have pulled out. And you're seeing very few insurance companies offering Affordable Care Act policies. So patients, subscribers, future policyholders have much fewer plans to choose from now. Doctors as well have pulled out. They've said, hey, it's such a hassle collecting this deductible up front. It's not worth it. We know we're not going to get paid until the patient can come up with a deductible. Also, almost all co-ops that were set up for these patients only have now shut down. Premiums skyrocketing for 2017 for Affordable Care Act policies. In Washington State, up 19%. California, up 13%. Texas, which Blue Cross Blue Shield offers the Affordable Care Act plans, they're going up 60%. In Arizona, premiums up 114%. So, knowing that a lot of these people can't pay the premiums, who do you think is picking up the difference? The subsidies. So the subsidies funded by taxpayers have skyrocketed as well, which means our taxes will go up unless the Affordable Care Act is modified or rescinded in some way. Insurer participation has declined by 27%. Insurers are pulling out of the market. It's not worth it. They're losing money. It is now less than it was in 2014. 19 of the 23 co-ops that were set up to treat Affordable Care Act patients have gone bankrupt and have lost billions of dollars in the process. The system is basically imploding on itself. Always remember that insurance companies are not in the healthcare business. They're in the business of making money, plain and simple. Profits are what drive them. If it's not going to make them and their shareholders money, they are out. And that's what's happening with the Affordable Care Act Now, whether it's the Affordable Care Act, whether it's any other insurance plan or any insurance company, should you participate or not? You have to make the right decision for your practice. Here's an example of a recent write-off. The charge was $112. The participating provider write-off was $89. Insurance paid $0, and the patient owes $23. So out of the charge of $112, the provider is only going to get $23 and has to write off the $89. So judge for yourself, is it worth being a participating provider? Becoming a participating provider is not recommended except for TRICARE. With Medicare, it is recommended that you become an ordering or referring provider and a DME POS provider. This requires 2 separate applications, and you will receive 2 different provider ID numbers. If you are an attending physician at a hospital, it is recommended that you be a non-PAR Medicare provider. Individually, you have to make the decision for yourself what's best for you. If you want to be a Medicare participating provider and bill surgical services, biopsies, etc., take a look at your patient demographic, take a look at the procedures you're performing, whether a large proportion of them are covered by Medicare. In that case, it may be worth your while to be a Medicare provider as well, and not just ordering and referring. How can patients pay their out-of-pocket costs? Well, there are several options that they can choose from. The one option is a flex spending account. A flex spending account is set up by the employer to cover costs that are not covered by medical or dental plans. The employee contributes an amount up to a preset maximum as specified by the IRS, and this is a percentage of their gross income. They're able to direct deposit money into the flex account, so out of each paycheck, the employer takes the money out and direct deposits into their flex spending account that has been set up for them. One of the drawbacks of this type of an account is that money does not accrue interest. You can use this money to pay deductibles, copays, etc. The other drawback is that this is a use it or lose it account. In other words, if you've set up this account and if by the end of the current calendar year you have not used up the pre-tax dollars that have been direct deposited into this account, you will lose all the money. It will not be paid to you with tax deducted. No, you will lose it, which means it basically goes back to the employer. A health savings account is referred to as an HSA. It can be set up by anyone at a bank of their choosing for any medical or dental expenses. So basically the patient goes to their bank where they have their checking and savings account. They meet with a personal banker. They say they want to set up a health savings account, and then the banker takes care of everything after that. Money is deposited into this health savings account by direct deposit from their employer. So again, with each paycheck, it's taken out of the paycheck, pre-tax dollars, no taxes paid on that money. It goes directly into this health savings account. And as with a flex account, the contribution maximum is determined by the IRS guidelines based on percentage of gross income. Two positives to this type of an account. Number one is that monies that are deposited into this account accrue interest. and as with the Flex account, a debit card is used to access money. Some accounts require the doctor's statements to be submitted first, and a check is then issued to the doctor. This can be also used to pay deductibles, co-pays, etc. The other huge bonus with a health savings account, unlike a Flex account, is not only do the funds accrue interest, but also the funds roll over tax-free from year to year if they are not used. So obviously there's a huge advantage to setting up a health savings account as opposed to a Flex account. When you look at an employee whose income is $30,000, what do we mean by pre-tax dollars? Let's say out of that $30,000, the employee diverted into a health savings account or a Flex account $1,500. For that calendar year, the taxable income will be $28,500. In other words, tax will not be paid on the $1,500, only on the $28,500. Again, though, keep in mind, a Flex account, use it or lose it, doesn't accumulate interest. A health savings account rolls over from year to year and accrues interest. So by diverting pre-tax dollars into one of these types of accounts, the employee is only taxed on the remaining amount and not on the diverted funds. Coming in 2018, the Flex accounts and health savings accounts will be eliminated if the Cadillac tax is not repealed. This was a tax that was attached to the Affordable Care Act when it passed. The Cadillac tax is going to be levied on the total yearly amount paid for health insurance and addendum accounts. The maximum that will be tax-free is $10,200 for a single person, $27,500 for a family. What do we mean by total yearly dollar amount? That comes and is included in this $10,200 per year maximum for singles and $27,500 for families. Total yearly dollar amount includes monies that are paid for or into secondary insurance coverage, supplemental plans, both employee and employer contributions to a Flex account, and personal health savings account. So the total premiums that you have paid or any money that you have diverted into savings accounts that are tax-free are all included in the total yearly dollar amount. So beginning in 2018, if the total yearly cost of all of your insurance and pre-tax accounts is over the yearly limit, the amount that is over the limit will be taxed at 40%, no matter what your income. At the present time, the costs of insurance premiums and medical expenses are tax deductible when you itemize. Flex accounts, health savings accounts are not taxed. So how will the Cadillac tax affect you? Well, if we take a look at my insurance, I'm paying $910 a month for medical insurance, which comes to $10,920 a year. I also have a Flex account, actually a health savings account, to cover the deductible, $3,500. So my total insurance premiums on accounts, savings accounts, Flex accounts, etc. is $14,420. The maximum I'm allowed is $10,200 as a single person. So the amount that is over the allowed cost is $42.20, which means I will be paying 40% of that in taxes, $1,688. The Cadillac tax, again, is part of the Affordable Care Act. With President Donald Trump eliminating the implementation of the Cadillac tax, this is no longer going to be an issue.